Coffee break with Jimmy. I guess they struck down the gerrymandering that the Democrats did in Louisiana, and I guess it was based all on racial lines. And apparently, this is going to affect all the southern states, Mississippi, South Carolina, Florida, and apparently, and I don't know this for sure, but they're saying I understood that it's. The GOP could gain up to 19 seats in the House of Representatives from this gerrymandering that was struck down by the Supreme Court today. I don't know exactly how that's done, but it's all the Democrats did this based on racial lines apparently, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be looking at California. The racial lines here in California from this Prop 50. So we'll see what happens there, but they're going to have to go back to the regular lines that they drew up prior to now, what they did now. And so we'll see how that happens. And I know Texas, for some reason, they applied for this last time we voted. After the last election, they applied for the gerrymandering, and they were going to redraw up the lines according to the population, because they had a population growth, and a lot of them were Republican population growth in the state of Texas. So we'll see where that one goes. But apparently we're going to get up to as many as 19 new seats, so we'll see what happens. But and that was the Voting Rights Act, the way it existed at this point in time. This wasn't the Save America Act. This was the Voting Rights Act, so we'll see that happens. But what I want to talk about today, I want to talk about John Fetterman. John Fetterman is a Democrat that, I really like this guy. He votes Democrat, but most of the time, but he believes in a lot of things that are just common sense. The border, he wants a secure border. And he believes that I should get rid of all the let's call it the bad characters that have come across the border. These guys that have committed crimes, they've committed crimes as far as they've raped and murder and things like that. And these people, they either got to deport them or put them in jail, right? We don't want those kind of people walking our street, but these are the part of the 25 million people or 20 million people. They've different numbers say it all the time, but the Joe Biden administration let in because Mayorkas said the border was closed and it never was closed. But I like Fetterman. Fetterman, he's a common sense guy. Whether he is a Democrat, and Pennsylvania really likes him. There's a lot of people that like him because he has common sense. And I think of a lot more politicians, Republicans too. Some of them don't have common sense, but most of them do. But pretty much all Schumer and his cronies, a lot of those guys don't have any common sense, or at least they believe one thing at one time that might affect them positively, but once it starts affecting them negatively, then they'll go to the other side, and they'll pretty much is anything against Trump, anything that Trump likes, that Trump wants, they want to vote against him. But that's not Fetterman, okay? And this is the idea that if a lot of Democrats would actually have the template of what Fetterman does and kind of follow his lead, I think they'll debate more. They'll have, just like when they had the California debate. There was one again last night, and I watched part of that. I didn't know it was on, so I caught it again. I caught about halfway through it. But it's the same thing. There was 6 Democrats on there. There's still the 2 Republicans, Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco, but now they had 6 Democrats on there, and this Becerra, they're really kind of hammering him a little bit, and because I guess he's going to be the new Eric Swalwell, I believe. Anyway, there's 6 of them, and they all said the same thing. They're all, we have to stop Trump. They for some reason or another, Trump is always. It's always based on getting rid of Trump. And Trump's doing the right thing, but he's not on the California ballot. But Fetterman, he doesn't believe that way. They was talking to him today, and he believes in You know what? He liked. Well, let's talk about the king and queen that came over from Britain. And I really liked his speeches. He had a lot of good things to say. He didn't say a whole lot about the Ukraine, although he spoke about it a little bit, and he didn't say much about Iran at all, and what was going on over there. But I know Trump and him, and behind closed doors, they talked about that a lot. He's trying to patch up this thing with Trump because Trump's not crazy about how NATO treated us. And NATO should have been on our sides. And we're talking about France, Britain, we're talking about Germany, all these different countries that are part of NATO, the main countries that are part of NATO, and they're not backing up the United States like they should in this thing with Iran. Everybody knows how Iran is and what they want to do. What they want to enrich uranium. They want to have a nuclear weapon. They don't want to have uranium for power. At least that's what they were saying initially. They want to have for power plants like everybody else has. But they wanted nuclear weapons is what they wanted, and that just can't happen. And in fact, the regime there in Iran is probably because we know with this blockade they're going to choke them out. They're not going to. They can't sell any oil. They just pretty can't. They're going to be broke before long. And I imagine the mullahs, they have enough money set aside to take care of themselves, but not the rest of the Iranian people. And they're going to have an uprising there in Iran, and it's just a matter of time. I would say in the next couple of weeks anyway. But Fetterman believes in all this. Fetterman believes this is the right approach. And even though he says, I am a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, they're saying, why don't you join the Republican Party? They were saying this morning. He goes, no, I'm a Democrat. And he goes, most of the time I vote with the Democrat Party. But because I don't stand fast with all the rest of Democrats and just, fall in line, I vote my conscience and what I think is right for my constituency in the state of Pennsylvania because he's a senator from Pennsylvania. So, but a lot of his common sense stuff falls in line with President Trump. And so if they had more Democrats that are like that would actually debate about different things and come up with a deal that's going to work for everybody instead of just one party, I think it would work out a whole lot better. And that's what they're working on right now. And this keeps going that way. And I think more and more Democrats are going to open their eyes. And that's what they have to do. They have to open their eyes and start doing the right thing. That's for everybody. It's not just, it's not just for the ones that are up on top and they're lying in their pockets, because all this fraud, come on, we could talk about fraud. The fraud in Minnesota and the fraud in California and other states. And there's red states that got fraud too. Come on. There's a lot of fraud that exists out there. And, they got this thing where this Mia Bonta, she's the Attorney General, Assistant Attorney General of the state of California. It's his wife. She's in the assembly, the state assembly. And now she's going to pass a law where they can't have journalists to go out and investigate different things. They can't. They somehow it's an invasion of their privacy. Well, this is all part of the First Amendment, and she's trying to pass a bill that's going to kill the First Amendment in the state of California. So we're going to see where that goes also. But I think if they do stop the gerrymandering in the state of California, and the count, like the Riverside County, they had more people that voted there that actually are in the county that are legally able to vote, and they have to do a recount on that. So we're going to see where that goes. But I think the Supreme Court's probably going to weigh heavy on that, because now the DOP actually has the ammunition now for especially the southern states. I'm talking about Mississippi. I'm talking about Georgia and South Carolina and Florida, all the southern states down there, because it's all done based on race, and it's not supposed to be done. The gerrymandering is not supposed to be done and drawing the lines in these different states. It's supposed to be based on race. So we'll see where that goes. But I think you need to follow Fetterman, and because Fetterman's got the right ideas. He was talking about the ballroom. I mean, let's touch on that, okay? The Hilton Ballroom there, where they do this this White House Correspondents' Dinner. Okay, well, they did that. It's like elbow room in there. I mean, they got 2,500. I've heard different numbers there. Again, 2,500, 3,000 people fit in this ballroom. But to think about Timothy McVeigh, okay, he pulled up in, was it Oklahoma City? There was a courthouse in Oklahoma City. He pulled up with a van loaded with explosives, walked away from it, lit the explosives, and it blew up this whole courthouse, killed hundreds, if not thousands of people there that were in the courthouse. Think about that. If somebody, say a suicide bomber, say you had someone that's from Iran or one of these other Muslim nations that infiltrate there, and they come in with a suicide vest, and they blow up because the whole cabinet is there. All the secretaries were there. They were all part of this White House Correspondents' Dinner. And just think, I mean, come on, the vice president was there, along with the president, and the Speaker of the House. Those are the three leadership right at the top. If something happens to any one of those, that's a chain of command. Who's going to fall into place? I mean, this is not safe. So I think the ballroom, and in fact, Fetterman said, he agreed. He goes, I think the ballroom should be built. He goes, you just build the darn thing. Whether some of us started off with private money, if not all private money, there might be a little bit of taxpayer money going into that. But a ballroom like that at the White House, they can hold big functions like this White House Correspondents' Dinner. They can have that there, and they can be safe. And that's what they should be after. Because I don't think the Hilton, I don't think that is really a safe venue. And they proved it this time when this guy was able to get in and almost get into the ballroom. I mean, he had he had a shotgun, a pistol, and I think 3 or 4 knives anyway. So, and just think if he had bombs, and he ran like he did right there, and he got in there, and he ignited himself, a suicide bomber. Just think of how many hundreds and thousands of people that he could have killed at that point in time. The place could have caved in. So, but Fetterman says that, and I believe it, I think they should go ahead and build the ballroom. I don't know if Trump will ever be able to use it. By the time they get this thing built, his term will be over. But this is what he wants to do, and I think it'd be better for other presidents down the road. And he might be able to use it once, but we'll see what happens there. But I think the Democrats need to follow Fetterman's lead, because this guy, at least he wants to debate. He wants to talk about things, and he wants to vote common sense. And that's basically what this new Republican Party is. The MAGA party. It's a common sense party. Anyway, well, we can beat this up all day long, but this will give you something to think about. You think about John Fetterman. I like this guy, and I did like what the king and queen. I really liked the king's. He gave a couple of statements there. And I really liked the way that he carries himself and the things that he talked about. He was funny, and Trump was funny too. But they get along great, and I think he came here to patch up this thing with NATO with Trump. So we'll see where that goes. And of course, he's going to be here for a couple more days, so there might be some more stuff to talk about the king and queen. So anyhow, this is Coffee Break with Jimmy. And please subscribe, hit the like button and share, and hit that notification bell so next time I'm on, you can see it. All right, thanks.